Like, I'm not even from California originally. I'm originally from Colorado, and like, I didn't even try weed when I lived there. But lately, I've started experimenting with edibles, and I'm pretty sure I'm doing it wrong. That's why I call it experimenting. Because I like take it as still like I'm like 17, like I'm like, woohoo, what's gonna happen? But in reality, I'm over 30, so what happens, I just fucking fall asleep on the sofa. Just wake up 6 hours later, like, I was probably high, right? I probably was high. I don't usually fall asleep during Bake Off. I try to like, you know, stay enjoying like Los Angeles. I live there now. I think LA is funny because LA thinks it's very different than the rest of the country, but it's actually not. It's actually like exactly the same, but just in like the weirdest ways, right? Like people in LA think they don't have racism, but it's actually everywhere, just weird. Like you guys know the Magic Castle? If you don't know what the Magic Castle is, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a big castle up in the Hollywood Hills, and they do magic there, and somehow it's exclusive. Like you have to know somebody who knows somebody to go see some shit you don't want to see. Like it's ridiculous. But recently, the Magic Castle was actually accused of being racially insensitive, which made me laugh real hard. Because what is funnier than the idea of a racist magician? That's the funniest shit in the world. Pick a card, nigger. It's like pulling Confederate flags out of his sleeves and shit. For my next trick, the South will rise again. I tried not to like let LA change me, you know? Try to stay true to my like Midwest roots. But I did get a therapist. That is a thing I let him make me do. Because that's the thing you have to do when you get to California. They won't even let you sign a lease in Los Angeles if you have a therapist. Like Colorado people are just like, have you tried going outside? You can just go outside. But in LA people are like, you should try therapy. You should try therapy. You should try therapy. It was always a fun thing to hear in a conversation that wasn't about that. But they'd always be like, you should try therapy. I'd always be like, I don't know, man, it sounds kind of expensive. I don't even know if that's in my budget. And they'd always be like, nah, man, there's actually tons of really cheap places that you could go for therapy. And I'd always be like, I don't know if I want cheap mental health. Kind of seems like a get what you pay for situation, you know? They say it so casually, yeah, just go down to Tijuana, man, they'll fix you right the fuck up. Could you imagine? Like, cheap therapy sounds terrible. You're like sitting there, the guy's like, so we've really made progress this week. I'm really excited to see what happens next week, delved into your childhood issues. You do have about 5 minutes left, though. You want me to jerk you off? In cheap therapy, you want to see how I make my real money? So I go check this place out, right? And I'd never been before, and one of the questions they ask you all these questions, one of the questions they ask you, they go, do you want a male or a female therapist? And I was like, female, 100%. Because I would like to get something done. I would like to accomplish something. And I don't care how many degrees that dude has. Two dudes sitting in a room trying to talk about our feelings, we would get nothing done. I'd like walk in, sit down, and the guy'd be like, so what's wrong, man? I'd be like, nothing, dog. What the fuck's wrong with you? What's your problem? So I got a female therapist. What I didn't count on, though, was I end up having like a little bit of a crush on my therapist. Yeah, turns out, ladies, you're right. It's very sexy to be listened to. But now, you know, I have a crush on her. I don't want her, like, knowing all my secrets, so now I just lie to her and don't tell her things, so I don't want her to think I'm a bitch. Toxic masculinity. It's a vicious, vicious cycle. Therapy helps a lot with dating, but I don't want to make it sound like I'm good at it. Like, I'm not. I'm comically bad. Like, sitcom level bad. Like, weird shit happens to me, right? Like, one time I had a date, and before the date, I wanted to get a haircut so I could look nice for my date, but also because every black dude is at the height of his confidence after a fresh haircut. Every 2 weeks, we feel like Obama's president again. It's fucking amazing. People see you on the street, they're like, that new D'Angelo album? Why is he so happy, right? So I wanted to get this haircut, but I goofed around all day, so I got to the barbershop late. And then on top of that, my barber's like a crazy conspiracy theorist, and the whole time he's cutting your hair, he just tells you his conspiracy theories. So his haircuts are just long and terrifying, because the whole time he's just going, Bill Gates, the reason I can't find a PlayStation 5. And turn your head. And you're like, the fuck is going on, right? So it takes him forever to get out of the chair. So by the time I get out of the chair, I don't have time to shower again. I just had time to change. And I go on the date. Date goes well. At the end of the night, We're hanging out at her place. We're making out on the sofa, and I'm on top of her. She's just running her hands through my hair, you know? She's running her hands through my hair. When the light from the TV hits her porcelain skin, it's Colorado, so she's white. It hits her skin. And I realize that as she's running her hands through my hair, all of the loose hair from this haircut is just falling all over her face. Like, it's everywhere. It's on her forehead, it's on her cheeks. She looked like basic Chewbacca. Like, it's bad. And she had no idea. She had no idea, because her mouth was closed when we were kissing, and her eyes were closed because she's not a psychopath. Although apparently I am, because now I'm just staring at her like that, you know? Like, you ever make out with somebody that keeps their eyes open, and then whenever you open your eyes, it feels like they fucking snuck up on you or some shit? Like, that's what I'm like doing, right? I'm like looking like, man, I gotta do something to fix this. This is the worst possible way for my DNA to end up on her face. But I didn't want to ruin the mood. So I just started trying to discreetly wipe the hair from her face, just like hoping she wouldn't notice. Like, I'm just like, oh God, you're so beautiful. But in like a very classic way. And she's like, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm like, just be in the moment. She's like, my contacts! It's a bad look, so I leave, right? And I'm walking home, and as I'm walking home, I'm like, notice people like looking at me weird on the street. I'm like, the fuck is going on, right? And I get home, and I looked in the mirror, and I realized something, which is that she had been excited for her date too, and that the equivalent of a haircut for a young white woman is makeup, including what I would call a significant amount of foundation that was 40 to 50 shades lighter than me. And I say that because it's now just a big white ring around my mouth. My hair's been pulled, my clothes are disheveled. No wonder people were crossing the fucking street. I look like the crackiest clown. I don't know, I don't need to be out there anyway. It's fucking weird out there, man. Everybody's talking about eating ass all the time. It's weird. All the people, that's new, right? Like the last year, it seems like everybody's like, eat ass, eat ass, you gotta eat ass. What do you mean you're not eating ass? We're all eating ass. You gotta eat ass. Like, it's fucking ridiculous out there. You go on Twitter, people put up polls, weird polls. Which of these Muppets eats the most ass? Weird options, too. Miss Piggy, Fozzie Bear, the answer's animal. We all know it's animal. That's why they call him that. I don't like it, I don't care, it makes me feel like an old man. Like, get off my lawn, stay out my ass. And I also think we're getting ahead of ourselves. Because there have been a lot of things that have been trends in the past that people got really excited about that actually turned out not to be a good idea. Like cigarettes. People used to love cigarettes. Turned out not to be a good idea. How do we know that 40 years from now we won't find out that eating ass causes throat cancer or some shit? There's just a lot of people walking around like, I used to eat 6 to 8 asses a day. Don't be like me, kids. Fucking high school assemblies and shit, people pop locking. Stay off the ass. It's a weird way to end, but that's where I'm going. Thank you very much, guys. It's been really fun.